it's Mallory here. Welcome back to my channel here on YouTube. I am so glad that you stopped by my channel and came to watch this video. So if you're familiar with what I've been doing, I am in the middle of a pregnancy update series. And as you can see from the title, this is actually a 2-week pregnancy update. So normally I've been doing just week by week, but because I was traveling last week and missed my update for week 11, I'm just combining weeks 11 and 12 into one video. So if you like this type of thing, pregnancy updates, I also do videos on what life is like in Germany as an American military spouse, then go ahead and hit the red subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of my tribe here. Okay, so let's just jump right into the update since it's gonna be a little longer than normal since we have to cover 2 weeks. Week 11 won't be as detailed as week 12 because there's a couple things I didn't do. So I don't have statistics from week 11, so I don't know how much I weighed and I don't know what my belly circumference was, but it probably didn't change too much based on my stats this week. So sorry, don't have that. Baby size in week 11 was the size of a large radish. So I'll put in a picture here of me holding a large radish that I think it was 1.2 inches was the approximate size of the baby in week 11. So that was neat. There's also, I think, kumquat. It was some kind of obscure thing on one of my apps. So I just found a vegetable that was 1.2 inches long. My symptoms in week 11, the first half of the week, I was still pretty tired. My mom and sister actually arrived at the beginning of my week 11, and you can kind of see my mom walking around there in the background. And when they first got here, I was a little tired those first few days. But the second half, I started feeling a lot more energetic, and it was a really good timing because we went on a road trip, my mom, sister, and I. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So it has to do with life in Germany. But overall, the week was really good. I think week 11 was like the first week that I started feeling more like my normal self. Of course, you know, still being pregnant, obviously I'm still gonna have symptoms, but the energy, my energy levels were much better. I wasn't feeling nearly as fatigued. The nausea was basically gone. I think it was basically gone in week 10 as well. I still, however, I think my most severe symptom was still being sensitive to smell, and even sensitive to smell when I don't even know what I'm smelling, but then I start gagging, so I know there's something in the environment that's bothering me. Mornings are hardest, and that's when the gag reflex is the worst, probably because I've gone 8 to 10 hours without eating or drinking anything. So I'm still doing the banana trick, which is something that one of my military spouse friends told me about, to keep a banana on your bedside, and of course my water bottle as well, and eat that banana before you even get out of bed. I prefer the bananas that are slightly green, so then they're not too sugary and you don't get like a huge sugar spike and then drop. And then eating as soon as I can after I get out of bed. So like even before I take the dog out or feed the dog. Normally my schedule would be to get ready, feed the dog, like take care of the dog, and then feed myself. But I can't do that anymore. I have to eat as soon as I can. My belly, I think in week 11 is when I really started to feel like my belly was showing more, but I'm still at that stage where I'm not really sure if I look pregnant to people who don't know I'm pregnant or if I just look a little fat, to be completely honest. My pants are not really fitting anymore, so I'm still having to use that belly belt that I showed you guys several weeks ago. So it's just like an extender that you can button your pants more easily, and it extends your waistline. So I'm having to use that with all the shorts that I've been wearing, but at least I haven't had to buy anything really pregnancy related yet. All right, so let's move on to cravings and aversions. Really no real aversions. Again, I'm eating meat. I think I was doing that in week 10. So eating meat, no problem. I am, as far as cravings go, I'm very suggestible. So if I'm looking at Instagram or listening to or watching like a show or something that they're talking about food, or there's like a nice picture of food, that usually looks or sounds appetizing to me, and then I'll want that thing, whatever it is. But I am eating a lot of fruit. Raw vegetables, salads have been really delicious to me, like fresh green salads with a good dressing. I have eaten chicken. I did eat chicken in week 11. So that was a milestone, because I had been avoiding chicken for over a month because it just grossed me out. And then finally, something new category for week 11, and that is our trip. So like I mentioned earlier, I did go on a road trip with my mom and my sister Abby. My sister Abby is here in Europe for about a month, or almost 5 weeks, for a summer music festival. She plays violin. She's a music major. She's a senior in college. And she got accepted into the Prague Summer Nights Music Festival. So she's in the Czech Republic right now as I'm filming this. And so she flew over with my mom, and we drove her out to the Czech Republic last week, or in my week 11, in the second half of my week 11. And it was a really fun trip, and my energy level was up. I don't know if it's because it was up or because the trip was a nice distraction from being tired, and it was just like a change of pace, something different. But I was really grateful to feel so good. I didn't have any gagging episodes on the trip, and I think it's because I'll get more into the smell stuff for my week 12 update, but I think it's just because like the hotel room smelled really fresh, and there really wasn't anything to gag over, so that was nice. We just had a really fun time seeing the Czech Republic for the first time. And then my mom and I, on our way home, took a little detour, and we went to Austria. So we saw the city of Linz, and then we went to Salzburg and stayed there 2 nights and explored Salzburg like for an entire day. We were out for like 12 hours from our hotel, and that was super fun. We saw the big fort. I'll put in some pictures. We saw the Festung Hohen Salzburg, the fortress that overlooks the city. We saw the outside of Mozart's birthplace. Let's see what else. Also, I forgot to say that we went to Monze, which is right outside Salzburg, and that is where they filmed the wedding scene in The Sound of Music. Of course, they make it seem like she's getting married at the Abbey, which she did in real life, but in the movie, she got married at the church in Monze, and it's just really, really gorgeous there. We also ate dinner there. And yeah, we just saw all the major sites in Salzburg pretty much, and had a really fun time. Oh yeah. And also in Salzburg, we saw Mirabel Gardens. We got some iced frappuccinos, and then went and sat and sipped our fraps in Mirabel Gardens. And they had a free concert going on with this brass band. They just like set up there in the gardens, and we came across that. So it was a really fun trip. And then our final stop was in Munich, just for several hours on the way home. We went to the Hofbrauhaus, of course. We saw the Glockenspiel in the Marienplatz, and then the St. Peter's Church, which is right near the Marienplatz. Really, really gorgeous inside. That's kind of a little aside about life in Germany. It still boggles my mind that I can say, yeah, let's go to Salzburg, and it's just like 5-6 hour drive. Yeah, I'll never really get over that. The fact that we can do that and go to some of my favorite places in the world that are just a few hours away by car. Okay, so that's the end of week 11. So let's move to week 12, which today I'm filming this. It is June 26, 2019. So it's the day that I turn 12 weeks. And the exciting thing about week 12 is that this is the last full week in the first trimester. So I believe the second trimester officially starts at 13.3 weeks. So like a third into the way of your 13th week. But I think most people count week 13 as the second trimester. So this is my last first trimester week update. So that's a huge, huge deal. Week 12 is the week that everyone wants to get to in their pregnancy, that everyone, I feel like once you reach week 12, you can breathe this sigh of relief that, okay, like the likelihood of pregnancy continuing and being fine is very, very high at this point. Miscarriage is down to like 2 to 3% chance, so it's super low. So yeah, it's like week 12 is like that magical week where you start feeling better, most people, and then your risk of miscarriage is really, really low. Okay, so my stats for week 12. So today I stepped on the scale and I weighed 116.4 pounds. Now in my week 10 update, I had down that I was 117.2, but I did weigh myself near the end of the day. So I don't think my weight has really changed all that much. My belly circumference was 33.5 inches. And the last time I measured it, week 10, it was almost 33.5. So the actual circumference hasn't changed, but I do feel bigger. I really think I am bigger, but okay, let's talk about the baby. So the baby is the size of a lime, and I have my lime right here. So there's the lime. So if you can see in my hand, I mean, that's pretty big, right? That's pretty incredible. I mean, it's significant change from the radish last week, and then even more from like 2 weeks ago. 2 to 2.25 inch. So that's what my app says. And again, I feel like I say this every time, but I love the Ovia app. Ovia is saying that it's the size of a ripe apricot. So I think it's the What to Expect app that says lime. So I also take out a ruler and actually measure the fruit to make sure it's the right size. So baby this week is doing some amazing things, developing reflexes, moving, although you can't feel it yet. Something interesting, this is again from the Ovia app, their intestines are outside of their body right now, but soon they're gonna start going back into the body. So that's really interesting. And the baby is also breathing and swallowing amniotic fluid, and also they pee out the amniotic fluid. So they're like basically drinking their pee, which is kind of funny and slightly gross, but I guess it's not gross to them. My symptoms this week, again, I'm feeling close to normal. I feel really, really good. Still, again, some symptoms, but mostly I'm feeling a lot better, a lot more energy. I only took 1 nap this week. Still getting enough sleep is really important to my energy levels, so I need about 9 hours these days to feel that energy. The gagging has continued, and I wanted to touch on that because I mentioned it. As soon as we got back from our trip, I started feeling the gag reflex again. So I was like, there's something in our house or in our apartment that smells. It wasn't anything that my husband or my mom could smell. I had been putting off cleaning out our fridge, and there was food lurking in there that was kind of old, and my mom was really awesome and helped clean it out. Actually, she did most of it. After we cleaned out the fridge in the pantry, that greatly reduced my urge to gag when I would walk into the kitchen in the mornings. So that was the culprit. It was the dirty fridge and the smell coming out. I mean, that's how sensitive my nose is right now. If you have a dirty fridge and you're pregnant and you can't stand going into the kitchen, that might be the culprit. Also, the bloating is worse, or the feel of being bloated is worse near the end of the day. And I think that's pretty normal. Near the end of the day, I am quite hungry pretty much all day. I have to eat like every hour or two. Near the end of the day, I can't eat as much as I could earlier in the day in one sitting. So I'll like have a full plate of food and then I can't finish it even though I want to. I do have to get up to pee in the middle of the night one time. So yeah, just overall really great. Just as once I get through the gaggy feelings, which are mostly at the beginning of the day, then I'm pretty much good the rest of the day. Cravings and aversions, again, really no aversions. I just eat what sounds and looks good in the moment. Again, I'm craving more protein this week. I really feel like my body needs that protein. I do still prefer red meat but I can eat white meat if I have to. I've really been liking the Glutino gluten-free pretzel sticks. You can get those at the commissary. It's like $2 a bag, and they're really good to munch on. And I think that salt also it just helps when you're feeling a little bit of that ickiness. Also, Granny Smith apples, like that cold tartness is very appetizing. I try to eat them with almonds so that you get a little protein and fat. And just cold things in general. It's really, really hot here in Germany right now. It's 97 degrees out here in Wiesbaden, and it's normally not like this. So I think the heat is making me want cold things. Food is really not much of an issue. Not really any problem with cooking smells. So really thankful for that. I'm pretty much cooking normally now. So yay. It felt like I would never get back to normal when I was feeling my worst about 3-4 weeks ago. So if you're in the throes of like mid first trimester, nausea, morning sickness, food aversions, it will pass. Eventually I'm on the other side of it. It does feel like it's gonna last forever. I said that myself, that it feels like this is gonna be forever, but it won't be. Okay, finally, our final category is something new this week. And I had my 3rd prenatal appointment, which I guess you can't really see that on the board, but I will show you the ultrasound. Look at that. There's the ultrasound. Isn't that amazing? I had my first trans-abdominal ultrasound, and that's what the baby looks like. There's a close-up. You can kind of see, I think that's a hand or a leg or something. Anyway, you can really see a great profile of the baby. And I wanted to show you guys a contrast. So this is from just 4 weeks ago. So that round thing, that's the yolk sac, and that's what nourishes the baby until the placenta is formed. But I mean, look at the difference 4 weeks makes. That, I guess it would technically be like this. Look at that. That's incredible. I mean, that growth, it's more than doubled. So it was so exciting to see the baby, heard the heartbeat again, totally normal. The doctor also did this, since it was almost 12 weeks, he did what's called the nuchal translucency scan, and that is where they measure the back of the neck. Can't really, I guess you can kind of see it in the picture. Maybe I'll insert a picture here so you guys can see it better. But basically he measures the fluid content and how thick it is at the back of the neck, and that can give you your risk factor, low or high risk for having a baby with a genetic condition. Everything was fine, and he was doing all sorts of measurements, measuring the femur, the head, the back, and everything checked out. Of course, if something had been wrong, that doesn't change anything for us. I also got a blood test that they do in combination with the scan. So the scan plus the blood test for these 2 proteins, and actually, okay, so this blood test, I have the printout here from the doctor. They do print it out in English for their American patients, and it's a blood test that measures 2 pregnancy proteins in the mom's blood, and those are free beta HCG, so that's the pregnancy hormone, and then PAP-A, so PAPP-A. So it measures those proteins, and if it's too elevated and combined with the results of your scan, that will give you the risk for genetic conditions, especially for Down syndrome. It says it can detect it 70 to 90%. So even if you get a higher or like positive risk, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong because like 70%, that's not that great. There's still a 30% chance that everything's fine. It's not a genetic test. That test is not covered by TRICARE. Maybe if I was older it would be, but because I'm only 32, my risk is low anyway, so that's not covered. One other thing about the appointment, so I mentioned from the app that the baby is developing reflexes and can move. The baby can also respond to outside stimuli. So the doctor wanted to get a measurement of the back but the baby was just like lying in a certain way and wasn't moving in the way that he wanted. So he took the wand of the ultrasound and he was like, I'm sorry. And then he had to like kind of poke my belly a little harder and deeper, and the baby responded to that and rolled to his side, I guess. Yeah, so that the back was to like the ultrasound. So that was incredible. And also the app said that if you poke your belly, the baby will respond, like wiggle and all that. So that's pretty cool. Probably another month till I'll be able to feel anything, but it's really neat to know that the baby is moving around in there. Okay, you guys, so this again is a little bit longer video because we were doing 2 updates, but I thought I might as well just combine it instead of trying to do 2 separate videos. That is it, and I'm really excited to bring you next week's episode with week 13 in the second trimester. It'll be my first second trimester update. Really, really excited, and on my board I'll be able to circle number 2. So, all right, you guys, thank you for joining me. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more updates, and even hit the bell so that you get a notification when I post a new video. So you don't have to go searching for my channel. It'll be super easy to see when the next video comes out. All right, and I will see you guys for week 13. Bye.